Hey Sages, and welcome to your October 2019 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky here to bring you hopefully an inspired and healing reading for your month ahead. Sag, your energy is very interesting. I think that you might be coming into October perhaps slightly discouraged just from the volatility and frantic experiences of September for some of you. And you might sort of be wondering, why? Like, Jupiter is in my sign, it's gone direct. This is supposed to be such a great and incredible time for me, and it is. It's going to be. I don't really want to beat around the bush when I say that November, especially for Sagittarius, is a very incredible apex of experience. But I know that you're coming into October kind of unsure how that's coming together. And what I think what's happening for a lot of Sagittarius here and now, as I was shuffling your cards, I felt very strongly that there's maybe a disappointment coming from September. It's not so much a trauma. It feels like this may have happened many times in the past, whatever you're coming from. But there's a sense of, wow, I really thought that that person would come to bat for me, or wow, I really thought that these people might have been able to move on, or that, there could have been more civility or grace within the actions of others. And I sense just like this disappointment. And this disappointment that you feel, Sag, is really not for the sake of discouraging you. It's for the purpose of being a catalyst toward getting you to a place where you can experience the catalyst, the catalyst of pushing you toward the dreams that you've been really behind for a long time. Sag, something, before I get into your reading, I just want to say something that I think that you're incredible with is forgiveness. I think that Sagittarius is an example to the rest of the zodiac about how one can forgive and about how one can walk through life with forgiveness. And I really challenge you to find forgiveness this month. Maybe we'll talk a little bit more about forgiveness or see what the tarot has to say about forgiveness and how you can embrace that more. But you are great at it, and I want you to continue being great at it because forgiveness is such an incredible spiritual weapon to yield. This isn't a time for anger because I feel that Sagittarius can have like big temper tantrums. Because you have so much, potent energy in your sign. Jupiter, Sag is a fire sign. So that's like a very strong fire activation. So this energy can channel as anger. But I want to give you guys also a little bit of food for thought regarding anger and regarding temper tantrums. Whether you yourself feel angry or if you've been dealing with angry people. I was meditating on the concept of anger recently, and I realized that one of the main things that is destructive toward our own auric protective field, our own light field, is channeled direct anger outward towards other people. So acts of meanness, temper tantrums, volatility, not channeled into adventure, exercise, art, creativity, in and out. But anger channeled directly outward, like a spike out in front of you, will do more to damage your own auric field and your own protective field than anyone else could do. All right? So I want you guys to really look to forgiveness instead of anger this month as you're moving through this month. That's what I felt when I was shuffling your cards, I just want to validate for you that forgiveness is the best choice here. Even if you have to distance yourself, I also feel that distance is an incredible thing for Sagittarius. We have Jupiter moving towards the last decade of your sign, which is about incredible travels, incredible distance, incredible milestones, and not so much about the penultimate homebody or the more passive, restful person like you may have been for a while now when your planet was retrograde over the summer. You, Sag, have a challenge this month, I will say, and I feel it in your energy. I think that the rewards based on the challenges you go through here are long-lasting and fruitful and undoubtedly give you an incredible November. But taking control of your anger, turning it into something beautiful versus channeling it out onto other people will be so rewarding, and being able to find forgiveness in your heart for people that you feel have done you wrong will also be so rewarding. So anyway, I'm about to go ahead and get into the tarot reading. If you guys didn't see, my new ebook Moon Symbols has come out. I'm just going to shuffle a little bit more because I felt drawn to it. I loved, oh, cards are jumping out. Okay, we'll put that down because I feel like it will come out. I enjoyed the process of writing Moon Symbols, and it is out now. I hope that you guys will jump over to Amazon or Gumroad and order that, because it's such a great guide for healing your moon, especially as we go into the darker time of the year here in the Northern Hemisphere. It was such a great thing, so check that out in the description box. Also, for those of you who haven't been able to join me over on Patreon yet, I post extra extended content over there, and these readings are early and ad-free and all of that good stuff, so be sure to check that out too. Everything's in the description box. But yeah, I just want to focus on Sagittarius's energy. All of this feeling of struggling for forgiveness, or struggling to distance yourself or draw a conclusion on people. I want to understand what it's about as we look at the general energies for Sagittarius in the month of October. All right, that's feeling really good. I'm going to put the deck down and cut it. Okay, general energies for Sagittarius in the month of October. Okay, and this reading is basically going to look just like my readings from the past. It's the same spread, 4 weeks with a central theme. And I'm just going to go ahead and go with this card first. This was the Ten of Wands. Okay, makes sense, right? Having to carry too much for your load. Having to carry too much load for your health and for your posture. You're really weighed down by something. Okay, Ten of Wands and Seven of Swords together. Good Lord, Sagittarius. This is what I'm feeling. This burden, this challenge, this this fight for forgiveness, the anger spectrum. It's all coming up in the very beginning of October. All right. And you can face it there. I'm feeling that really strongly. You are carrying way too much. These are really the only two cards in the tarot that are about carrying too many things, if we look at them. On one hand, you've got the Seven of Swords, and this more so relates to mental burdens or emotional burdens, not always, but it relates to maybe carrying painful memories with you. That's how I'm interpreting it in your reading, at least. I'm not so much feeling this as people taking advantage of you. I'm feeling it more that you are carrying anger, resentment, or fear from the past, and that's very sharp, and it's really close to your neck. So throat chakra is emphasized. It's hard to communicate this fear. It's hard to communicate this pain, and there's so much of it. So some of you need to get out of a negative environment. Some of you need to distance yourself. That's what I'm hearing again. Distance is a great remedy for Seven of Swords, but it's hard to distance yourself and hard to do that movement, get away from something when you're carrying so many physical things as well. So you guys, in the first week of October, are constrained and weighed down not only by emotional and mental burdens, but also by physical tasks, work tasks, and creative tasks even for some of you too. All right. The last week of September for you guys is going to be important, so I hope that you guys are being able to watch this during the last week of September, because that's when you can kind of look with foresight and really make sure that you're doing the things at the end of September that give you a head start on dealing with so much pain and commitment. You're very committed to something, Sagittarius. That's what I'm hearing too. It's like maybe you're too committed to your family or over-committed to a relationship that is just doused in turmoil at this time. And you're encouraged in the first week of October to see that. And hopefully you've made some kind of change in September, because September was what that was all about. We had the origami signature with all the Virgo placements and Jupiter and Neptune making a T-square, and that really impacted the mutable signs, and you are a mutable sign, Sagittarius. So I'm hoping that in September you were able to start getting the cogs in motion of the change you know that you need to make. All right? I think the remedy to this conundrum you're facing here in the first week truly is trust in yourself and trust in your own power to achieve. I sense some amount in your energy, Sagittarius, of fear that if you don't do all of these things, or if you're not juggling all of these different aspects, that you won't have enough, or that you'll lose everything. It's like maybe you're working 3 different jobs because you think, well, if I don't do this, I won't be able to live the life I want to live. You know, I'll just be able to, you know, pay my bills and do nothing else. So I've got to do, you know, the extra job so that I can live my Sagittarian lifestyle of greatness and, you know, glamour and fun and, you know, being able to get away here and there, being able to travel. I think that some of you are definitely in a place of work smarter, not harder. You know, having to see what you can do to optimize what you're carrying through life, because there's no way you can do it with 10 wands and 7 swords all in your arms. Something basically has to be let go of, and that's not going to be hard. Some of you are like, oh no, I have to let go of something. I think there's a bunch of things in your life, if you look at it closely, Sagittarius, that you're like, thank God I can let go of that. That's not even necessary in my life anymore. Why am I still trying to make that work? I don't even like doing that. What am I doing? I could be replacing that with so much more money or so much more creativity or so much more abundance. And it's like, just because you're not maybe thinking of it in a term of like, do I actually enjoy what I'm doing right now? Or am I doing something for the sake of continuance? So you had Saturn in your sign back in 2017, which said you have to finish what you do no matter what. Okay? You have to take things to completion regardless of how fruitful they are. That's not the case anymore, Sagittarius, but I see you very much still operating in that. Those were important lessons to learn, and they need to be learned for the sake of the important things that at times feel difficult but need to be carried through because the reward is great. But what you have to employ here is discernment with an understanding of what wouldn't be fruitful anyway in the future and what is just preventing you from doing that which could actually be fruitful, all right? So first week of October, confronting what needs to be let go of. That's what it's about. Let's see the second week. The Hermit reversed. Knight of Cups reversed. A big shift for you guys, a big sudden change in energy. So what I'm seeing here with these 2 cards together is perhaps a bit of an aversion to what they represent, which are both more like meek, quiet, contemplative, reflective, even secretive energies. So I'm thinking everything that has to do with that Sag is starting to not be so nice feeling for you. So yeah, this definitely happens when Jupiter is in your sign, where we want direct honesty. We want, you know, forthrightness. We want clear, you know, uninterpretable truth from others. And I think that if you are around people who are being dishonest, or if you're around people who are uninterpretable, it's a good sign to make distance from them. There's also, I feel that as manipulation too. I feel the second week energy as like a manipulation, or people showing their true colors as that, because these are both reversed. So it says to me that they're obvious in what ways they could be negative. So you see like maybe an arrival here too. You see an arrival. Ooh, this is interesting. I'm getting chills. Somebody might come back into your life that you've not been able to interpret, or that you've not really understood why they've left. You've not really understood why they were gone, and there's like a big mystery around it. So for those of you who've had a bit of a mystery in your life, you could see the unraveling of that mystery. You could see that the truth starts to come back in there. That's an interesting thing. Actually, very, very interesting. I also sense that you're not going to feel lonely during this time. If you've been dealing with like solitude or loneliness, I think that that's going to start to change here. So you could also be meeting new people and just not keeping to yourself as much. I could interpret it that way too. One way or another, the second week of October is very interesting. It's like a riveting energy. There's like murder, mystery, novel like energy there. So it's like a very probing, interesting experience for you. You are kind of casting light into the darkness. You're going to be maybe revealing something, or have something revealed to you during that time. Learning why somebody walked away, learning why somebody abandoned you even. I could see some of you maybe reconnecting with an adoptive family, meeting your biological parents for the first time, reconnecting with like an ex from your past who you never understood why they like broke up with you, or you never understood like what happened to them or who they were. I can see like just a sudden honest and vivid truth about something that has perturbed you or like beguiled you for a long time. So interesting energy, Sag. Let's look at the third week. 3 of Swords, 5 of Pentacles. This is not maybe what we expected for this time, is it, Sagittarius? But, you know, this is what I was feeling in the general intuitive energies. And, you know, when I do these readings, I try to maybe do like only 1 or 2 per day of this format of reading, because I like to kind of walk through my life and with the intention of like, okay, what is, you know, Sagittarius going through? And I'll kind of interpret through just like the random stimulus that comes in. And I will say, Sag, when I stepped into your energy over the last day, things have been particularly volatile and particularly like feeling out of control. So I think that you're dealing with that. I think that you're dealing with people maybe expecting you to take on their own emotionally abusive dynamics. Like, you can see people really like saying like, I've put my hand to the stove, now you put your hand to the stove too. Like, people who want to see you go through the same pain that they've gone through so that you can like learn the same lessons that they have. And again, that's why distance is such an important thing for you right now in this month, because you have to shake the tripod like I'm doing. I keep accidentally bumping the tripod, guys, so I'm sorry about that. It's important to think of 5 of Pentacles differently. I really think so. I don't think that necessarily you guys are going to be walking on a cold, lonely, treacherous path, but I do think that you're called to remember what this has taught you before. So like the last time that you really resonate with 5 of Pentacles, the last time that you really maybe experienced a rock bottom or experienced like feeling on your own and desolate in some way, that's going to be the key to healing your heartbreak. Maybe it's the realization that you've come so far, and that even though this situation is not nice, you're still so much further than you were before. Because, guys, Jupiter's in your sign, there's going to be a degree of things like only being a certain level of bad. Like, try to not catastrophize things too. I think Jupiter in your sign also lends an exaggerative mindset, so try to not catastrophize the small things that do go wrong by remembering where you've been and how things have been a lot worse before. It's important for Sagittarius because you can find power in that, and you can find clarity in knowing that this can be a lot better, that you can have things here. Try to not break the bank in the 3rd week of the month. Try to exercise a bit of frugality, perhaps. There is an air of frugality over this reading, I will say, and I think that that's so you can go bigger in like November and December. But whatever choices you're making, whether we're talking spending time, money, energy, try to think, how can I do just a little bit less? How can I hold back just a little bit? Because I really do think that Sagittarius gets its most brilliant moments in like unexpected solitude, or unexpected like not having to do something. So think of how you can even get out of the heartbreak a little bit more. And maybe some of you aren't brokenhearted. In fact, I'm sensing that 3 of Swords is not you. It's almost like having to witness others in this situation. And maybe this entire week is about the choice to witness others, or the choice to maybe even be charitable. I think that maybe donating clothes or money during this time, if you're doing very well, is a good thing, because I sense that Sagittarius can really help other people during the 3rd week. But again, you don't want to do it at the extremity of your own expense, you know, like don't go crazy. But I want to get a grasp on the 4th week here to understand more about this. 7 of Cups, Ace of Wands. Ooh, that's an interesting kind of thing. What do I think about that? I'm going to have to think about that for a second. I totally understand the energy in my gut, but articulating this is going to be a bit of a tough one. Do you guys know when you like watch a movie and it's maybe been a very like austere, like tragic theme in the movie, and then for like the last 30 seconds of the movie before the credits go, the whole tone like shifts into this more like what do I want to say, like badass kind of like the music changes, the lighting changes, and everything sort of gets like the narrative is shifting, and it's like changes to a different person and everything changes. That's what happens here. And the first thing that I'm thinking of, you guys, and this is horrible, like I know we all think Twilight is so cheesy, but do you guys remember from like the first Twilight movie where it like goes through the entire story, and then at the end it like shifts into the perspective of like that other like vampire who's like the long red-headed one, and I don't even remember the names, but like it like suddenly changes and it like goes into that like funky music and it feels like really epic. That's basically what I'm feeling for your energy here, and y'all might be like gagging at this point in time, but major shift starts in the 4th week, and you go from this more like austere, tragic, maybe even like cheesy storyline of the first 3 weeks that you really want to get out of, and you move into a more like epic novel, or a more like epic eccentric, powerful new beginning. So I love it. I can finally breathe easier now that I'm sensing it for you. But, you know, it's held up by 7 of Cups, which says to me, you know, Sag, like, maybe you have to kind of get in your head with moving forward. Maybe you kind of have to daydream a little bit. Maybe you have to, think of your life in a way that is more unreal for a little bit. 7 of Cups is not always a bad thing. I'm going to turn this light on here. 7 of Cups is not always terrible. I tend to interpret it in a more difficult sense, but you know, what do we have here? We have all of these riches, we have all of these potential splendors in our life, and we're focusing so much on them that the person has gone out of focus. So it's like basically can be the energy of selling our soul or forgetting our own path for the receival of these riches. So do avoid selling yourself out during that time. But for you, I'm sensing that it's actually important to find motivation, because there can be a motivation with 7 of Cups too. Like, you know, you're motivated to, you know, become wealthier. You're motivated to become surrounded by more abundance, you know. And being rooted down by Ace of Wands, it's the perfect catalyst energy, because you can actually find the motivation or the formula to make this a reality. So in that case, it's not bad, but you just want to make sure that you're operating through authenticity and you're operating through kindness and love for others. And then that will make any of the negative implications of 7 of Cups sort of dissipate. But I almost just really sense it as, again, like a shift in narrative for you in the 4th week, which I think is very cool and very just badass, really. Like, Sag, you've gone through all of this heaviness and had to face square on the liars in your life, the deceivers, the people who try to convince you that you're the problem in like their own narratives that you have nothing to do with. You've had to lighten your load. You've had to let go of what you know that you can't do anymore. And perhaps you've had to acquire, I don't know, some expensive things to make all of this possible. And maybe you have to live your life a bit more frugally so that you can pursue your dreams. Those are the realities here. But to get the central theme out now, 2 of Wands. Oh my gosh, doesn't that just kind of make everything a little bit better? I love that, Sages. It's all a part of your plan. It's all a part of your journey. Like, this is the period of time where maybe you get like the inspired thought bubbles for the book that sells millions. Maybe this is the time where you get the emotional motivation to write the album that wins all of the awards. There's like or rather, there's an archetype of like the chess player here, the person who is making hard choices, but doing so in a strategic and self-bettering method. So I want you all to sit with that this month, and I want you all to sit with the thought of like, what are the hard things that I need to let go of here? What are the what are the things that are preventing me from acquiring what I need to actually get this forward motion in my life? What are the things that are preventing me from working on what I know my life's purpose is? And how can I shift this more austere narrative into something that is just penultimately badass, is what I gotta say for you guys, because that's what Jupiter in your sign is all about. Undoubtedly. So basically just go through this entire month asking yourself, how can I be more badass? How can I be more epic? How can I be more just above all of this BS that you guys have been sort of shifting through and sifting through and channeling and helping other people to the fault of yourself? None of that this month. Try to disconnect from people a little bit. You know, the people who are, because I feel like there's just so many parasitic, leechy, emotional vampire people who expect you to do something for them that you actually have no control over. That has to have distance this month, Sag, and that is perhaps the most important thing to take away from this month's reading, is that you've got to establish some distance from some people in your life so that you can fill that space back up and start to kind of do what it is that is you. You know, doing Sag, doing the things that leave your mark on the world. I think that that's the Sages that I know in my life. It seems that they're all kind of basing their happiness right now on how they're leaving their mark on the world, or how they're imprinting their life on the world. And it's a very high standard to hold yourself to, especially with some of the other placements in the sky right now. It is hard. And I think that Sages who are in like pretty high positions or low positions share this in common. And I've been speaking to like my Sag friends and also my Sag clients, and I'm like, well, you're leaving your mark on the world every single day with every single action that you do. And it's kind of not enough. It's kind of not, it's not what they're actually looking for. Like it's not that they want grandiosity or celebrity or fame, although that may be the case for some, depending on where Jupiter's at. You know, if you've got Jupiter through the 5th house or the 10th house, or even the 1st house, it could definitely be. But it's almost like Sag can't convince itself that it's doing enough, or can't convince itself that it is potent, and that every action it does every single day, the people it interacts with, the people it goes through life with, you're leaving your mark, Sagittarius, in every way. Try to not get so caught up in, oh my gosh, I'm not leaving my mark, you know, I'm not leaving my destiny on the world and everybody doesn't know and that means I'm not successful. You know, basically it's the energy of like quarter life crisis, midlife crisis, end life crisis, regardless of what age you are. It's that sort of thing. And you come out on the other side of this embracing your power one way or another, which is what I love. And I just want to leave it on that note for you all. Like, embrace your power here. You're so much more powerful than you give yourself credit for. But if you keep convincing yourself that you're not leaving your mark, or that you can't afford to invest in like the piano so that you can do your album or whatever it is, like, those are not trains of thought to embrace right now. That does not mean like go out and buy everything that you've ever wanted in your life with the credit card, like take the messages with a grain of salt, a grain of sand, whatever. But there's a new creative beginning. There's a new creative, strategic, hard-working thing coming up for you here. You've just got to let go of some of these things and not let the concept of money or fame, reputation, renownedness, not letting those things keep you from actually doing it, So do it. I love you guys. I hope that this reading resonated for you. Your energy was a tough one to articulate, but I think there's some great healing messages all around you this month and supporting you through. I think you're very protected, and I think that you're very connected to knowing when something isn't right. And that, at least in and of itself, is a blessing. So anyway, Sages, if you haven't gotten a chance yet to subscribe to my channel, if you're new, I would so appreciate that. Also, if you liked this reading or love tarot in general, be sure to hit the thumbs up button below. And that helps for YouTube to get this video out there. And I think that this content can be very healing for many. So I hope that a lot of people get to see it. Also, my ebook is available now. just now, and I will link it below. All of my social media is below. And also, if you wanted to check out this ring, it is by 3 Keys Jewelry. It is not actually sponsored, but I think that it's cool. It's Damascus, if it would focus. Yes, I think it's very cool. It has a good energy about it. So I'll link that below. That's available on Amazon. And what else am I forgetting, Sagittarius? Comment below, tell me how you're feeling. If I didn't quite get to channel through some of the energy, tell me how you're doing. I always like to get feedback for the readings so that I can fine-tune my interpretations ever more. So yeah, tell me how you're doing. Hit that thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button. All the stuff is in the description box. I hope that you guys are ready for an incredible ride throughout the rest of the year. All right, Sagittarius, much love. We'll be talking soon. Bye.